I'm Alex Frank of the Perfect Season podcast, and here is your Thursday morning sports update. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so let's recap the already conference champions in college basketball and look ahead to today's action. 12 teams have punched their ticket to the big dance already. Matt McMahon taking Murray State to the NCAA tournament for the 18th time in school history as they win the Ohio Valley, the first team to clinch a berth to the big dance. Griff Aldridge and the Longwood Lancers winning the Big South for their first ever trip to the big dance. Loyola Chicago going back under first-year head coach Drew Valentine as they win the Missouri Valley Conference. Rob Lanier and the Georgia State Panthers winning the Sun Belt for the fourth time in the last 7 conference tournaments. Chattanooga on a buzzer-beating 3, winning the Southern Conference. Congratulations to head coach Lamont Paris and the Mocs. Ray Harper and Jacksonville State going to the dance out of the A-Sun. Scott Nagy taking the Wright State Raiders to the dance for the second time in his 5 years as head coach, winning the Horizon League, led by Martin Inglesby. The Delaware Blue Hens winning the CAA. Jared Grasso taking Bryant to the tournament for the first time in school history as they win the Northeast Conference. Head coach Eric Henderson taking the South Dakota State Jackrabbits back to the NCAA tournament, winning the Summit League. Mark Few and Gonzaga winning the West Coast Conference for the 18th time in school history. And Matt Langle, or Mark Few's tenure, I should say, and Matt Langle and the Colgate Raiders winning the Patriot League. They're back in the big dance. Coming up today in conference tournaments, oh my goodness gracious, do we have so many games to get to. We'll start in our Power 5 conferences and major conference tournaments. The ACC quarterfinals begins at noon on ESPN. Number 7 Duke taking on Syracuse. Miami and Boston College follows that game in the quarterfinals. Then at 7 o'clock on ESPN2, it's Virginia Tech and Notre Dame. And then at 9:30 or approximately 9:30 on ESPN, back over on ESPN, number 25 North Carolina, fresh off that win at Cameron Indoor Stadium, they will take on Virginia. Virginia currently on the outside of the bubble, according to ESPN's Joe Lunardi. Let's go to the Big 12 quarterfinals there today. Begin at 12:30 on ESPN2. Number 22 Texas hosting TCU. It continues at 3 o'clock or approximately 3 o'clock on ESPN. Sorry for that. As number 6 Kansas will take on West Virginia. Kansas, the 1 seed in the tournament. The 2-seeded Baylor Bears will take on Oklahoma at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And then approximately 9:30 following that game, number 14 Texas Tech will take on Iowa State. Let's go to the Big Ten. Second round action today in that tournament. Indiana and Michigan tip it off at 11:30 on the Big Ten Network. Approximately 2 o'clock following that game, number 24 Iowa, the 5 seed, taking on Northwestern. 6:30 on the Big Ten Network. It's Maryland and Michigan State. A good game there. And then Ohio State, who has fallen out of the top 25 all of a sudden, will take on Penn State following Maryland and Michigan State. All 4 games on the Big Ten Network. Let's continue on down our Power 5 conferences. Let's go to the Pac-12 quarterfinals today. It begins at 3 o'clock. All games on the Pac-12 network except the late one at approximately 11:30. 3 o'clock Eastern Time, number 2 Arizona taking on Stanford. Then, following that game, approximately 5:30, it's Oregon, Colorado. 9 o'clock tonight, Washington State taking on number 13 UCLA. And then at 11:30 tonight, approximately on FS1, it's Washington and USC in the quarterfinals. Second round action out of the SEC today begins at noon on the SEC network. Florida and Texas A&M. Florida, both teams on the outside of the bubble looking in. Missouri takes on LSU at approximately 2 o'clock. Then tonight, Mississippi State and South Carolina do battle at 6 o'clock on the SEC network. And then it's Vanderbilt and Alabama at approximately 8 o'clock. That's going to change, of course. And that should probably be 8:30. That's also on the SEC network in the second round. Let's go back up to our other major conference tournaments. Let's go to the American. Cincinnati and East Carolina tipping off at 1 o'clock on ESPNU in the first round of the AAC tournament. Following that game on ESPNU, it's Tulsa and Wichita State. And then at 7 o'clock tonight, it's South Florida and Central Florida. Rivalry on I-4, as Anthony Fiorentino of the Perfect Season podcast knows it as. Let's go to the Big East. Quarterfinals today. Loaded slate. Begins at noon on FS1. Number 11, Providence, top seed, taking on Butler. Following that game, approximately 2:30, it's Marquette and Creighton. Then at 7, it's number 8 Villanova against St. John's. And then 9:30 tonight, approximately on FS1, number 20 UConn taking on Seton Hall. What could be a really, really good game. UConn, the 3 seed, Seton Hall, the 6 seed. Let's go to the A10. Skipped over that earlier. We'll go back to it. Begins at 12 o'clock on the USA Network, George Mason and Fordham. Following that game, it's LaSalle and St. Louis. At 6 o'clock, it's UMass and George Washington. And then at approximately 8:30, it's Rhode Island and Richmond. Going back down to Conference USA, quarterfinal action today at 6:30, 7, 9, and 9:30. I imagine all those games are on ESPN Plus. Doesn't say, though. Rice and North Texas will tip it up, followed by Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky. UTEP battles Middle Tennessee, and then Florida Atlantic takes on UAB. Let's go on down to the Mountain West. Handful of games there. Nevada, all games on CBS SN, beginning at 3 as Nevada takes on Boise State. UNLV takes on Wyoming. Utah State battles number 23 Colorado State, and Fresno State will battle San Diego State. Colorado State, the 2 seed in the tournament. San Diego State and Fresno State tip off at approximately 11:30. I believe those are all the major conferences. But we'll run down all the other games today. No games in the America East tournament today. The Big Sky has quarterfinal games today, all on ESPN Plus. They begin at 2 with Sacramento State taking on Montana State. Following that game, approximately 4:30, Montana and Weber State. 7:30, Portland State and Southern Utah, and then Eastern Washington and Northern Colorado at approximately 10 o'clock. Let's go to the Big West. Quarterfinal games there, beginning at 3, all games on ESPN Plus. We've got California State Bakersfield against Long Beach State at 3, approximately 5:30. It is UC Santa Barbara and UC Irvine. 9 o'clock, UC Davis and Cal State Fullerton, and then at approximately 11:30, UC Riverside and Hawaii. Continuing on down, let's go to the Ivy League, where there are no games there. MAAC, you got quarterfinal games there. 7 o'clock tonight, 2 quarterfinal games tonight. 7 o'clock tonight, Quinnipiac and Siena. And then at 9:30, approximately Niagara and Monmouth. Iona, of course, getting knocked out by Ryder yesterday. The Mach tournament. You got quarterfinal action there today, beginning at approximately 11 o'clock. Central Michigan and Toledo, all games on ESPN Plus. At approximately 1:30, Buffalo and Akron. 4 o'clock, Miami, Ohio, and Kent State. And then at approximately 6:30, Ball State and Ohio. Let's go to the MEAC, where there are quarterfinal games there today. 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus, South Carolina State and Morgan State. And then at 8, Maryland Eastern Shore against North Carolina Central at approximately 8 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Northeast Conference, of course, already finished. Let's go to the SWAC. Quarterfinal games today on ESPN Plus at 3, Grambling and Southern. And then at 9:30, Alabama A&M and Florida A&M. Both games can be seen on ESPN Plus. Southern Conference already finished. Let's go to the Southland. Quarterfinal game today at 6 o'clock. You've got Houston Baptist and Texas A&M CC. And then Texas A&M Community College, I guess that's what it stands for. And then 8:30 approximately, McNeese and New Orleans. Continuing, I believe that is it. Let's check the WAC. You got quarterfinal games there on ESPN Plus, Sam Houston and Grand Canyon. And then at approximately 11:30, Abilene Christian against Stephen F. Austin. How about that? So I believe that takes care of all the conferences, accounting for all the conferences today. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Did I miss the America East? No. There were no games there. Did I miss the Big West? No, I did not. It's hard to keep track of all these conferences. Did I miss the Ivy League? No, I did not. All right, I think I've hit on every single one. Yep. So that is that. Those are all the games today. Enjoy them. I'm Alex Frank for the Perfect Season Podcast. Back with you tomorrow.